Our legislators are certainly not overpaid, but right now is the time they earn what little shekels they get. Because it's like, oh my goodness, here's another day in the downtown deal. What's on the horizon? What's on tap for today? Rep. Andria Tupola's in the house. And one of the things, good morning.
Good morning.
How's traffic?
Traffic was good.
Not bad,
It's spring break.
I can always tell when there's a smile, you see, when everybody's happy.
Less stress.
And gets here. That being said, I'm really interested in the way some of our bills have changed around a little bit. I know I'm involved in one of them because I've been asked to and proud to be one of the spokespeople for the BIA talking about that sprinkler bill that had been, that's been looked at. But there's a lot of bills that seem like they're gone away, but really what they've done is they've just been moved over to a different version. How much of your time do you spend trying to figure out, hey, wait a minute, wasn't this that one? How come this ended over there, over here?
Yeah, I think that when we get through the crossover, which we already did our first crossover, so we looked through all the House bills, but we're coming up on the Senate one at the beginning of April. We have to look through it so meticulously because we're on House version 1, 2, and now we're on Senate version 3, 4. So you have to read line by line, read through the committee report and make sure whatever was said in committee reflects in the draft and that the draft is accurate and that the new words that are put in the draft actually mean what it was supposed to mean.
Yeah, and I know that it seems like a simple task, but from what I understand, it's not. I mean, it gets pretty involved, right?
It takes a lot of hours.
Yeah,
we sit with analysts and we have lawyers help to, check us. But I also use different agencies and experts in the issue, the prosecutor's office, the public defender's office, everyone who's testified. I kind of ask them because some of them, even with the fisherman's bill, some of them have tracked this issue for so long that they're more of the expert on looking at the ins and outs of what the versions of the bill are. It
just so happens, I'm sure everybody's aware of this, this week is the 169th meeting of the Western Pacific Regional Fishery Management Council. And I was talking the other day in our Go Fish program, guys from CNMI and American Samoa, from all over are here in town right now trying to figure out what this means. And I think it's a good example because these guys are all opponents most of the time, but they have a common goal. And so I'm thinking that this is the time when people with a common goal are getting to their legislators with their reason to back or reject something. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. I think that there's definitely a lot of people that hang around the building just for that, just to make sure that we hear their opinion, that we hear, how the bill's changed and why we shouldn't support it. Yeah. So some of them are lobbyists, but a lot of them are special interest, meaning like people who just care about the issue. That's
why a lot of people are telling me, they're hearing things on the radio and they're seeing things on television where people are advertising. Then when they'd never advertise if it weren't for in the session. So that there's a lot of people. Now, I know that, look, just because a side of or a faction throws a lot of money at something, aren't you all in that building sort of ready for the fact that you know where it's coming from, depending on who's sponsoring it, you know what their remarks are going to be, you know what they're going to say before they even say it in most cases?
I would say a lot of it is worked out ahead of time. Yeah. I mean, people asked me that before, like, is this how you guys debate in the legislature? I said, well, a lot of it happens in committee. It happens in offices where we talk with each other and say, okay, so why are you doing this? What are you doing? How can I support you? I'm actually going to speak up against your bill, just letting you know as a courtesy, this is what I don't like. If you want to change it, you can. But
by the way, I want to compliment you on that because I've seen that. I've seen you pre-announce to somebody, you know what? You're going to have a tough time changing my mind. With respect to one thing, let's talk about, this would be a non-political issue, and it's the sunscreen. I mean, if somebody discovers that sunscreen, you got to slather it on you to keep from getting sunburned, but you're jamming up the water by doing so because of this certain ingredient. If there was science to back that, would anybody even think about not agreeing?
I think that it would have to be heavily, advocated with education. Because, a lot of people say, scientifically this came out, but there's going to be a fair share of people that are like, I don't believe that.
Yeah. Well, there's a global warming issue when you take a look at that, right? There's some people who say it's a figment of scientists' imaginations. Yeah. And some people are just so forward. They say, no, it's not. Here's the evidence.
Right.
That's a big one coming up.
Right? Education and advocacy. So I think when the groups do their part in educating, meeting with small community groups and getting out the word, then there's more likely that people will believe it. Okay, we're going to take a look at some things, specific things in a bit. And if you also would like to join the conversation,
you may do that by dialing us up at 296 KHNR. That's 296-5467. Or you can even email us, themikebuckshow@gmail.com. themikebuckshow@gmail.com. And we're getting some of that as soon as I can. I'm button challenged this morning, my friends. I'm having a tough time looking at some of this stuff. But I do know even the rail is rearing its head. There's a number of things to do with that coming up. But right now it's 7:15.